like to take different groups of people, put them together, believing in the common purpose of the power of this dog, and let them do their magic. And so you guys are another group down at IU of maybe an unlikely group of individuals that would choose to volunteer with an organization that works with prisoners and people with disabilities to help these guys make a difference in ultimately everyone's lives they touch.
Everybody talks about, like, if you go to grad school, you don't actually do it unless you think like you should probably quit a few times. And this was definitely a good trial run for my grad school career because we definitely thought we should quit a few times.
I definitely think that a lot of the offices on campus wanted us to quit, so they made it as hard on us as possible at the beginning to make it seem like, is it really worth it?
So together we made a very good team because she was the calm to my fury, and we fought through it, luckily. We made it very far.
I didn't think it honestly was going to happen many times, and it was quite remarkable with their persistence and energy and commitment to see it happen.
We went out with one of the trained volunteers, and we were handing out flyers for our first call-out meeting, and no one was taking them. No one was listening to us. We had a dog with us, and no one cared. No one looked at the dog. No one wanted to pet the dog. So at first I was like, oh God, no one's going to join. And then we got 500 people this spring semester that were interested. And I said, oh God, everyone's going to join.
As we were individually reading each application, which was very tedious, but very worth it, and we were seeing common trends, so we were like, maybe we should expand outside of what we have. It just kind of blossomed from that, and after we created that first committee based on what multiple people were saying, we were like, well, heck, let's just start creating committees for everybody, because we want every single person that's involved to have some true personal tie to the organization. We want them to not just be doing it to volunteer or just doing it to like get a resume builder. We want everybody that is in there to enjoy it and to love what they're doing.
I took, so ICAN's been around 15 years. So way back then, there was very little heard about service dogs, especially in Indiana. So I thought, I have this idea. I had heard about them using prison programs to train service dogs. We use them in what we call full circle. So when it's time for us to partner these dogs with a child or an adult with a disability, that child and that adult comes to the women's prison for 2 weeks. The handlers and the clients are hugging, they're exchanging real stories, they're learning about one another as people, and by the time those 2 weeks are up, invariably we hear, if I wasn't in this facility, I'd never know these women were prisoners.
I didn't really realize the impact until we went to the prison for the first time and went to a program called If These Dogs Could Talk, where we got to meet with some of the inmates that were the handlers for the dogs. And it was when we heard the inmates speaking about how like it had changed their lives and like to what extent that it had truly changed their lives. Like I realized that we were a part of something way bigger than what I ever realized. And I mean, we cried that night. Like that night we truly realized like what we were doing and what we could be capable of here on campus, and I think that was a big, big turning point.
I think there's a lot of little events, too, that happened that really made me feel like it was worth it. So way later when we had our first call-out meeting, we had individuals that we had never met before willing to come out that live in Bloomington that have the dogs. And so those kind of moments, seeing how the impact in the people who get the dogs, we had the Puppy Love Valentine's Day, and seeing people from ICAN that are like staff and volunteers that I've never really met or talked to in person very often come out and be so appreciative of what we're doing. It shows that we're not only helping the community and the dogs and the handlers and whoever else, but ICAN itself really appreciates us. And making them proud has really made it worth it.
Hi, come to our puppy kissing day.
We have so many great people. We already have our next president and vice president picked out, and they are both so amazing. And so
next year, we are really focusing on education, so trying to get the community to just be more aware of what ICAN is, make it a common name, and then try to make people understand the work that service dogs perform and how important it is. And then we'd like to partner with different organizations on campus and off campus, maybe elementary schools, do some outreach programs.
And we have so many freshmen, so I'm hoping that if they stick with it for 4 years, sometime in their time, they're going to recruit more freshmen, and it'll just keep growing.
So it's scary because we have to give it up, and we have to know and trust that the people that we're giving it to can handle it, and I fully believe that they can. So just a matter of getting over myself, and Julia, I imagine, to some extent herself, and having faith, and the fact that we've worked hard, we've set them up as well as we possibly can, and that we have picked incredible individuals to continue to lead it.